Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Long time no talk. I have been on vacation. I went on a breathing expedition with Wim Hof, the Iceman, in Spain for a week. So then I went to Barcelona for a couple of days. I had a bunch of experiences there. We definitely have to do a story time, which was what I had planned on doing when I first got back. But as y'all know, and as you've been trying to inform me, a lot has popped off in the Brittany case. So to put your all, minds at ease and to update everyone with what's going on, I decided to frontline the Britney Spears court documents this morning. So I have not been on my phone because it literally got stolen the first day that I landed in Barcelona. So I'm just kind of catching up with all this stuff right now. So I drew this little picture and I just want to kind of show y'all what issues we're dealing with. Okay. So this is very lo-fi, but you see how I've drawn like the issues in the middle. And then one of the issues, of course, is fees at the top. Then you have the depositions. You have the documents down here on this side, and then just bigger themes, right? And the big themes it seems like they're focusing on are the wire bugging of Britney's stuff and all the different money things, okay? So what we're going to be talking about today are the things that I have put in the green squares. So what we're going to be talking about today specifically are going to be the depositions and the documents over here on, sorry, it's hard to hold this up. I need a new streaming platform. That's one of the things I'm about to work on very soon. That'll let me share the stuff. But over here, right, we have documents that Matt wants from Jamie, Matt wants from Lou, Robin, TriStar. Then you have the ones that TriStar wants from the Shireen Ebadi lady, the Kroll and Associates. Then some things they're apparently also requesting from Vivian Lee Thoreen. And we're also going to be talking about these depositions. Brittany wants to depose Jamie. She wants to depose Lou. She wants to depose Robin. Now, Jamie, Lou, and Robin, none of them want to be deposed. And they're arguing to the court, don't let Brittany depose us. And they're trying to give some stupid reasons. Now, this is something we've known about since November 2021. And if you are behind on what's going on in the case, you should watch my playlist. There's also the documents that I've linked down below. So today, we're going to be talking about two main documents in particular, which are going to be Brittany's opposition to Lou and Robin and TriStar's motion to quash their subpoenas. So what happens is Brittany and Matt Rosengart have told Judge Penny, we want to depose. Only one light's on. They're saying we want to depose there. Lou, Robin, and Jamie, among other people, but those are the ones that are in particular being discussed here. Now, that is called a motion, or they actually just served like notices of subpoenas for deposition. So then Lou and Robin and TriStar, the business, all came out and said, no. Brittany should not get to depose us. Now, Brittany and Matt have recently filed a new document about 5 days ago, that says, here's all the reasons that we should get to ask questions to Lou Taylor and Robin and of TriStar in particular. Okay. So let me just put up this document for y'all. This is going to be the first one we're going to look at. And it's the most important one, I think. So, what? Did y'all just see that happen? What the heck? Okay. So we got the demons attacking us this morning. Let me see if I can pull it back up. I might have to start the live all the way over. Let me see. Oh my God. Did y'all see that happen as soon as I clicked on it? It was like, it all turned to white. What the heck was that? Pulling it back up. this is annoying. Sorry. Please don't make me start this live over again. I'll be so upset. Okay. Have it up here. Now let me see. Okay. Whew. Okay. No, this isn't it. Sorry. One more try. So we're going to be talking mostly about Lou Taylor, Robin Greenhill, and Matt has told us some new information that is not new information at all because it's stuff I have been telling y'all for now 2 years, but it is so validating to see it. Huh. Thank God. Okay. It is so validating to see it in writing because y'all know nothing that we're about to read in here is going to really be news. We've been saying this for 2 years, but here we go. So what do we have here? Electronically filed on, July 1st at 9:23 p.m. And the name of the document is Britney Spears Memorandum in opposition to TriStar and Robin's motion to quash. Okay. Filed concurrently with the declaration of Kyle Freeny. So we will be reading the declaration of Kyle Freeny as well. Okay. So y'all know I like to look at the table of contents. They are going to talk about now this was written by Matt Rosengart and Brittany, I don't know how much Brittany wrote, but this is filed on behalf of Brittany. So they're going to talk about the procedural and factual background of the case. So they're going to talk about TriStar having a conflicted role in the conservatorship. They're going to talk about how TriStar received at least $18 million from Brittany. We're going to talk about financial mismanagement by Jamie, including these $300,000 in overpayments and Lou Taylor's personal legal fees to sue a fan, an alleged fan. They're going to talk about the whistleblower, Alex Vlasov, talking about the bugging and monitoring of Brittany's devices. And they're going to talk about how TriStar actually concealed its actions as Brittany's business manager. Y'all might know as well, based on what you've read on Twitter and elsewhere, there is going to be some emails in the Kyle Freeny deposition and the Kyle Freeny declaration we're going to be able to read that shows definitive proof, receipts, proof that Lou Taylor helped and was very obviously involved in the setup of the conservatorship. Again, that ain't news to us. We've known that since 2008 when Lynn Spears wrote this book, Through the Storm, and we will read to compare the notes in Lynn's book to the emails that we now have access to from 2008. So this is all the things we're going to be talking about today. Probably some more stuff. Then Matt is going to get into the legal discussion. He's going to talk about the documents, the court statutes, the court cases that basically say Lou Taylor and Robin Greenhill are SOL. They are out of luck. They're going to have to return these documents over. They're going to have to sit down for a deposition. And then there will be the conclusion. Okay. And then the table of contents just talks about the cases they'll rely on. I had completely lost my voice in Spain too. We were outside a lot. So bear with me. My voice is not as strong as usual. So here we go. Britney Spears, through her undersigned counsel, respectfully submits this memo in opposition to TriStar and Robin's motions to quash subpoenas for both their depositions and for documents. So basically, again, Matt Rosengart and Brittany asked for depositions and documents. Lou and Robin said no. That was back in November. We're finally in July and we're finally getting to what really went on. Okay. TriStar, which now seeks to suppress relevant, important information from Britney Spears, was hired as her business manager by Jamie Spears at the time he placed Britney into the conservatorship. When TriStar was a new company with no track record or famous clients, TriStar was owned by Lou Taylor, an intimate friend of Jamie, who Jamie then owed at least 40 grand, a substantial amount of money in 2008, especially for a man with a history of financial mismanagement, including a bankruptcy, mortgage defaults, state and federal tax liens, and failed business ventures. Again, all of this stuff is stuff that we already knew and I uncovered back in 2020. Shortly thereafter, this was 2008, although Jamie supposedly believed his daughter was, quote, incapacitated and in need of medical care, Jamie and TriStar sent Brittany on a grueling worldwide tour and onto other work. Jamie and TriStar both profited handsomely from Brittany's work. According to QuickBooks software provided to Matt Rosengart's firm, and the investigative consultants Kroll Associates, Jamie and TriStar obtained more than $6 million and $18 million, respectively, from Brittany's estate. So this is the first time we're seeing, in my memory, the first time we're seeing Matt actually put a number on how much money it seems was a minimum that Lou Taylor did derive from Brittany and her estate. According to the New York Times detailed September 2021 front page cover story, TriStar's Robin Greenhill and others were involved in an intense surveillance apparatus that monitored Brittany's private text communications, including those with having to do with her attorney-client communications, and in real time by mirroring the iCloud account on phones used by Britney Spears. Contrary to TriStar's public position, so AKA contrary to TriStar's lies, and Ms. Greenhill's November 2021 declaration, where she stated the following. In early 2008, TriStar had no role in Britney's affairs. TriStar's own internal emails demonstrate that Lou Taylor played a substantial role in Britney's affairs prior to and in the early days of the conservatorship. So Matt is basically saying, look, Lou Taylor and Robin Greenhill are lying whenever they said that they had nothing to do with the conservatorship and nothing to do with Britney's affairs. That was a lie. And we're going to get into the receipts to prove that that was a lie. Now, in the law, once you prove somebody has lied once under penalty of perjury, they have impeached themselves. Impeachment means that you kind of chipped away a little bit at your own credibility. Because if you lied about one thing and lied about the next thing, what else are you lying about? You see what I'm saying? So Matt is trying to say, look at all these things they lied about. Those emails include a January 17th, 2008, that's pre-conservatorship email from Lou Taylor to Jamie Spears, look, Lou Taylor to Jamie, saying that Andrew Wallet and TriStar will serve as conservators. And a January 30th email from conservatorship lawyer Geraldine Weil. So Geraldine was emailing Lou Taylor before the conservatorship even started. Geraldine, a lawyer, emails Lou Taylor, not a lawyer, not even Britney's business manager yet, to say, our judge selection is an issue. And then here comes Matt. What does it indicate? It indicates that Geraldine was in effect reporting to Lou about who the conservatorship judge would be. Now, I do want to read one passage from Lynn Spears' Through the Storm, because she says something very concerning. On page 181 of the hard copy book, it says, quiet plans, here, I'm reading from here. Quiet plans had been underway for 6 weeks for Jamie to petition the court for temporary conservatorship of Britney, but it seemed like an impossible dream at that point. With Sam Lutfi, still so entrenched in Britney's life. In fact, Jamie was going to file for the conservatorship on January 22nd, 8 days beforehand. But he and his business manager, Lou Taylor, felt God leading them to wait, fast, and pray, despite the frustration of a phalanx of lawyers. One more time. Jamie was going to file, for the conservatorship on January 22nd, which is 8 days before they actually filed for it on February 1st. But Lou and Jamie felt, quote, God leading them to wait, fast, and pray. Okay, so let's see what God really had to say based on these emails they were sending at the same exact time. January 22nd was the original date. Lynn Spears said in her book, we just read it, they had been planning this shit for 6 weeks. I'm shaking. I'm so mad because they're liars. They wanted Lou Taylor, TriStar, to serve as a co-conservator. A January 30th email from Geraldine. This is 8 days after they had already planned on filing for it on the 22nd, but God was leading them in another direction based on Lynn Spears' book. A January 30th, 2008 email from Geraldine to Lou was concerned about the selection of the judge. Geraldine was reporting to Lou about who the conservatorship judge would be. January 30th and February 1st emails in which Lou Taylor insisted she should be included in communications concerning the press statements once the conservatorship was put in place, and a February 24th, 2008 email referencing Lou Taylor's desire to replace Brian Spears as the trustee of Britney's most valuable trust. So Lou Taylor is a liar. She's the devil. She is evil incarnate. She said she should be included on these emails. Look, back in 2008. She wanted to be the trustee. She wanted to be involved in the press statements. She wanted to be included in all the communications. She wanted to be involved in the selection of a judge. They were reporting to Lou Taylor, and she came out and lied under penalty of perjury, saying she had nothing to do with Britney's affairs. It was a lie. We're only on page 1, y'all. We going. TriStar, which now represents Kardashians, Travis Scott, built its company on the back of Britney Spears. And TriStar and Lou were supposed to be Britney's and her estate's fiduciaries, meaning they had obligations to elevate Britney's interest above their own. But despite that integral role at the time of the conservatorship was established, despite reaping at least $18 million from Britney Spears while she was a conservatee, and despite building its brand on the back of Britney Spears and her incredible talent and hard work, when TriStar's counsel was asked by Matt Rosengart in late 2021 for basic information concerning the conservatorship, i.e., I don't know how much money it obtained and a copy of a management agreement, TriStar, like Jamie, chose to stonewall, obfuscate, and lie. In early October 2021, TriStar and its services director, aka human trafficker and handler, Robin Greenhill, were therefore served with subpoenas. This was in early October 2021, seeking documents that were indisputably related to Britney's investigation of the conservatorship. and relatedly to several matters pending before the court. At the time, those matters included the accountings and the then upcoming November 2021 termination hearing. Notably, Team Con now includes Notably, the requests now include Jamie's December petition against Brittany for Big Sloppy's legal fees. Fees his new lawyers are trying to steal from Brittany, on top of the many millions that his prior lawyers already got paid. Matt says it's particularly relevant here that Jamie's ill-advised motion actually put his misconduct directly at issue to make us have to talk about it here. Fee petitions like the one he filed in December simply cannot be granted where there is serious misconduct at issue. In addition to his own conduct, TriStar, of course, is a crucial witness to Jamie's conduct, which lies at the heart of his fee petition, ranging from conflicts of interest to alleged financial mismanagement, electronic surveillance, and other abuses. Now, y'all will remember, I had to actually literally quit my job as a lawyer because Lou Taylor hired my law firm and wanted me to stop talking about her. The specific allegations that I was making about her were that she had massive conflicts of interest. Now, the law firm I was at tried to argue down with me about it, but it don't matter. They were wrong. I was right. They were stupid. I wasn't. And now we're seeing it in black and white, highlighted letters here in a filing. Indeed, TriStar had conflicts of interest related to financial mismanagement, electronic surveillance, and other, what's this word? Abuses. This footnote just gets into the morality of it here. In short, even prior to Jamie's 2021 petition trying to ask for fees, the subpoenas sought undeniably relevant information, and hence TriStar's motion to quash is baseless. But Jamie's subsequent petition, along with his other claims, placed TriStar front and center, thereby converting TriStar's motion to quash from merely meritless to legally frivolous. For these reasons and those set forth below and of the record, TriStar's motion should be denied. TriStar should be ordered to produce all responsive documents within 7 days of the hearing of this matter, and promptly followed by the depositions of Lou and Robin, the human traffickers, who literally ascended to earth from hell, it seems, to me, in my opinion. Here's the procedural background. Set forth below is a brief summary concerning the relevant facts and procedural posture, including the role TriStar played in managing the estate and effectively controlling the day-to-day life of Brittany, a role which, according to the evidence, began when the idea of a conservatorship was first conceived in or about early 2008. A. TriStar's central conflicted role in the conservatorship from inception. The conservatorship was founded on the conflicted relationships between Jamie and TriStar, a conflict of interest they evidently concealed, hid, lied about from the court. Shortly before Brittany was placed into the conservatorship in February 2008, Jamie borrowed at least $40,000 from TriStar, a then obscure business management company based in Brentwood, Tennessee, with only a few clients, owned by Jamie's personal friend, Lou Taylor. The existence of this loan is not in dispute. After initially lying about it to the New York Times, Jamie's lawyers were forced to concede it. TriStar has failed to produce the loan's underlying documentation. Its existence was even hidden from the court. And it was not until the New York Times ran its story late last year that on TriStar's enrichment from the conservatorship that the conflicted arrangement was exposed. As Anthony Palmieri, president of the National Guardianship Association, said, it makes him wonder where the allegiance lies. Is it the conservator making decisions in the best interest of Brittany, or the business manager who he actually owed money to? As the record also shows, the Jamie Spears TriStar arrangement also violated a California court rule 7.1059. And those are rules governing the conduct of the conservators of the estate, which would be Jamie. Here's the rule. The conservator must avoid actual conflicts of interest, and consistent with his fiduciary duty to Brittany, the conservatee, he also was legally obligated to avoid even the appearance, even so much as the appearance of a conflict of interest. Further, the conservator must avoid any personal, business, or professional interest or relationship that is or reasonably could be perceived. I just want to stop real quick. There's a lot of people working on conservatorship law reform. Thank you so much, Wonky, for the super chat. Yes, that's my cat. What was I saying? There's a lot of people who would like to work on conservatorship reform. They want to make more laws to make it harder to exploit conservatorships. And, I think in general, that's a great mission. But look what we already have. Look what laws do. We already have a law right here. Rule 7.1059, A24. We have 7.1059B. We already have laws. We already have laws. But what do we know about criminals? By definition, they ignore and break laws. That's what a criminal is. I contend Lou Taylor is a criminal. That's just my opinion. It's not a fact. She's innocent till proven guilty. You're not going to get me for defamation, bitch. It's just my opinion she's a criminal. I have no extra facts besides y'all have. You can make up your own mind. But criminals ignore the law. And it seems like the people in this case ignored the laws as well. So what does that make them? I am heated. All right. Relatedly, TriStar, Lou Taylor, and Robin Greenhill have all denied that TriStar was involved in the creation of the conservatorship. No doubt they were aware when they lied about that such involvement, if it was true, which it clearly is because now we have emails, would call into question not just the exorbitant fees paid to TriStar, but also what the motives were for placing Brittany and keeping her in the 13-year conservatorship in the first place. Then Matt goes on to give us 3 examples. First example, in a sworn declaration submitted in connection with TriStar's motion to quash, Robin stated that at the time the conservatorship was established, it was established by this court in early 2008, and TriStar, this is what Robin lied and said, had no role in Brittany's affairs. That was a lie. I highlight the lies in purple. Lou's lawyer wrote in a letter to Page 6 in September 2021 that Lou played, quote, no role whatsoever in the creation of a conservatorship for Brittany, which is a lie. We also, first of all, we've been knowing that since 2008 in Lynn Spears' book. We just read it. Lou fasted and prayed with Jamie for like 6 weeks to put Brittany in this conservatorship. TriStar was going to be the co-conservator, first of all. Second of all, now we have emails, and we will read them. Lou's lawyer told Insider, another tabloid, that the conservatorship was certainly not created with any contribution of Lou Taylor or her company TriStar. So not only is Lou a liar, not only is Robin a liar, but also the Gibson Dunn attorneys, Scott Edelman, is also a liar. And if I'm not telling the truth about that shit, sue me. And we will get to the bottom of it in the depositions, because I'm not going nowhere. These denials, aka lies, by TriStar and its representatives are false. Emails obtained by Kroll demonstrate that Lou Taylor was in a very active discussions with Jamie and conservatorship lawyer Geraldine Weil about the creation of a conservatorship in the weeks prior to the conservatorship. For example, in an email to Jamie dated January 17, 2008, Lou wrote from her TriStar email address, and we will read these emails, that she had spoken to Geraldine and co-counsel about Andrew, and that Andrew and TriStar would serve as co-conservators with Jamie. Does that look like somebody who had nothing to do with what they say? Certainly not created with any contribution of Lou Taylor. Matt is just exposing lies. These are lies exposed. This was preceded by an email earlier that day from Lou to Geraldine that stated, "I look forward to working with you." Geraldine also emailed Lou at her same TriStar email address, Coram Deo. I'm going to make some Coram Deo merch. Y'all going to buy it? "I look forward to working with you," to her TriStar email address on January 30th, 2008, copying Jamie to say, "Look, we have run into a problem with the judge selection." So this is from an email from from Geraldine Weil. Look, Miss Weil emailed Lou Taylor. Now, just to set y'all up on the timeline, Brittany was put into an involuntary 5150 hold, which allowed the groundwork to be laid. It lined up the pins for the conservatorship to go through. That involuntary 5150 hold was started on January 31st, 2008. Look what these alleged criminals were doing on January 30th, one day before Brittany was railroaded into the involuntary psychiatric hold against her consent, against her will. A day before that happened, Geraldine is emailing Lou, "We have run into a problem with the judge selection." Now, I don't know how many of y'all have been involved in a court case, but all the ones I've ever seen, you don't get to select your damn judge. Okay. So how and why is it that Geraldine Weil is able to select a judge? I don't know, but I have some questions. I was right. I've been right 100% of the time, and there's other stuff I've been right about that's going to keep coming out. Thank you, Jenny. So Geraldine emails Lou Taylor a day before Brittany is put into a conservatorship. Sorry, rephrase. So Geraldine emails Lou Taylor a day before Brittany is put into an involuntary 5150 hold at the UCLA Medical Center. The day before. And Geraldine says, "We've come into a problem with the judge selection for the conservatorship petition." Why? Because the only judge who will be able to hear our case on Friday is the one who will not give Jamie the power to administer psychotropic drugs, aka the only judge who's available on Friday is the judge who won't allow us to forcibly drug Britney Spears. And they had a problem with that. They wanted to forcibly drug her. And on the day of the hearing, Lou Taylor admonished Geraldine Weil in an email to say, "Remember that the engagement letter requires copies to come to our office of all documents to be preserved for the benefit of Jamie." So this is very interesting to me because in 2008, Lou Taylor was talking about the benefit of Jamie. So let's go back up to this man real quick. What was his name? Right here. Anthony Palmieri said, "Well, I got a question." The head of the Guardianship Association, he said, "I got a question. Is the conservator making decisions in the best interest of the conservatee? Because that's what's required by law. Or is Jamie making decisions in the best interest of the business manager who he owed a debt to?" Well, look, let's go down here. Oh, shoot. Hush, Ella. This is not good. Why does this keep happening? Okay. I don't know why that keeps happening. Let me close it and open it again. Sorry, y'all. I have no control over this, so. Are you freaking serious? Okay, well, I guess I will have to share it in another way. Just give me a second. It won't open now. I legitimately feel like I've been hacked. I don't even understand this. It's all right. I got other ways. Let's see. Today. Nope. Also, all these documents you can find yourself. I've linked them below. Oh, this is annoying. Sorry, y'all. I wish I had control over this. What the hell? Okay. Sorry. The program just completely crapped out. All right, let me try to share this. All right, so where were we? Okay, so here we are. On the day of the hearing, Lou Taylor reached out to Geraldine and asked her to remember that she had to send over all the documents to Lou because Lou needed the documents for the benefit of Jamie, right? So everybody's doing stuff seemingly for the benefit of Jamie. Doesn't look like they're doing stuff in benefit of Brittany. Within weeks of Brittany's placement into the conservatorship, Lou Taylor expressed a desire to be installed as trustee of the SJB Revocable Trust. Now, what do we know about, thank you, Michael. What do we know about the SJB Revocable Trust? That is where all of Brittany's non-conservatorship assets were stored. So people often ask me as a lawyer, in a legal advice way, which I'm not giving y'all legal advice, but they often ask me, my friends, my family, they say, how do I make sure this cannot happen to me, this conservatorship thing? And the advice that a lawyer will give you is put it in a trust. The statements they tell us in law school over and over are like, you put stuff in a trust to keep it out of probate. So Brittany very intelligently made all of the right decisions for her money. She put it in a trust, the SJB trust. She put it there to protect her assets from thieves and criminals. But what happened? What happened? Literally weeks after she was put into a conservatorship, Lou Taylor wanted to be made the trustee of that trust, which remained outside the control of the conservatorship. Now, this is not new. It is new that Lou Taylor wanted to be the conservatee. I didn't see that It is true that it is new that Lou Taylor wanted to be the trustee. I did not know that, but it does not come as a surprise to me because she was everything else. All of the roles that she played in the conservatorship that we know about for sure are leading up to the conservatorship. She was helping, fasting, praying, communicating with lawyers. She was loaning Jamie Spears money, $40,000. Thank you, Susie. $40,000. She was eventually the account reporter on the conservatorship. So not only was she the business manager spending Brittany's money, taking money as a fees from spending Brittany's money, but she also reported on her own damn self to the court. Now we're finding out she wanted to be in charge of the trust. Hello? Oh, hey, Andy. I am so mad about this. Andy, if you want the documents, they're in my Google Drive if you want to cover this. Not all of them. Some of them are like 500 pages long, but most of them if you want to cover. Okay. A few days later, after that email about wanting to be the trustee of the trust. Oh, let me get this up for y'all. Lou sent, quote, discussion points to Jamie's lawyers about her proposed removal of the existing trustee. So Lou Taylor was talking with Jamie's lawyers about getting rid of Brian Spears as the trustee of the trust, as well as Ivan. What was his name? I forget Ivan's last name. Ivan. Now I have Ivan Yevremovich in my head, so I can't think of Ivan's last name, but he was the trustee on this trust. In lobbying to take control over a significant portion of Brittany's wealth, Lou noted that she had, quote, fought for Jamie for 3 years and prayed and fasted with him every week. She said, I am the right person for this. Again, that's actually confirmed in Lynn Spears' book that she was praying and fasting. So for 3 years, a lot of us always try to figure out, when did Lou Taylor get involved with Jamie and Brittany and all that? When did she get involved? And we have been able to trace it all the way back to, I believe, 2004 is when she got involved in Jamie Lynn's life. Well, look at this. Lobbying to take control over a significant portion of Brittany's wealth, Lou Taylor noted that she had fought for Jamie for 3 years and said she is the right person for this. So this is 2008. So 3 years ago will be 2005. So since 2005, Lou Taylor has been fighting to get her claws, her demon talons into Brittany's money and life. Like, it isn't just about money, y'all. She took over the girl's life. Brittany had an IUD forcibly inserted. Brittany was drugged on lithium. Blood was taken from her against her consent. Her children were kept from her. This isn't just about money, but let's follow the money because that is my expertise. B. TriStar received $18 million plus from the conservatorship it helped create. It was within this context that TriStar was installed as the business manager for Brittany and her estate, and that TriStar ultimately collected more than $18 million from Brittany's estate. In the same email, let's look at the footnote. Lou also noted the possibility of having the trust, quote, pay the bills. The trust, which was, again, supposed to be excluded from the conservatorship estate. There were already trustees. The way a trust works, I've made videos about this already. If y'all want to go watch my playlist about the trust playlist, there's a trust video. But the trustees are the people who are legally in a fiduciary capacity to take care of the funds and the assets inside the trust. A trust is just like a cup. And whatever you put in the cup is the asset, right? So here's the SJB trust cup over here. And let me put this over here, pretend it's a cup. Here, I got it. This over here is the conservatorship cup. Lou was trying to get her hands on this and trying to get her hands on this. But this cup, the trust, already had some people with their hands on it who Brittany put in place. Ivan Tabak, and what's his name? Brian Spears. But Lou wanted to remove the people in this cup and put her little sticky fingers in that cup. Her talent, her demon claws. Oh my God, you're so sweet. So look, she wanted to have the trust, this cup, pay the bills of the conservatorship, which is not supposed to happen. They had to go through all kinds of legal things, loopholes for literally 13 years. When I came on the scene, y'all remember when I came on the scene and I exposed that Lou was trying to take Brittany's estate funds and put them into Fidelity as a fiduciary, that 600 million went up and down and all that other shit was going on. Y'all remember whenever we ended up finding out that she was trying to make Stonebridge Investment Counsel, which was her investment firm, be in charge of Brittany's money? All of that was a long game. It all started because it was really difficult to take the money from this cup and put it over here. a lot of legal loopholes have to be reached. And a lot of people say, why didn't they K-word Brittany? Why didn't they Kill Brittany? Maybe because they needed her alive to effectuate all of this stuff. But Brittany said she felt like they were trying to do that to her. TriStar has refused to produce any additional supporting documents, so we can't independently verify this $18 million number. Against this backdrop, TriStar's refusal to provide Brittany with documentation or even a copy of any written agreement between TriStar and the estate is all the more troubling. So now we're going to letter C. Hold on. Financial mismanagement by Jamie favoring TriStar. Number 1, Jamie authorized more than $300,000 in overpayments to TriStar. When Brittany took a hiatus from performing in early 2019, TriStar's ability to profit from her estate decreased significantly. But TriStar, Miss Spears and the estate's, Brittany and the estate's fiduciary. What's a fiduciary? A fiduciary creates a legal obligation of that person to another. So Lou Taylor had a legal obligation to Brittany and a legal obligation to Brittany's estate as a fiduciary. In 2019, her ability to profit off Brittany going around and performing and stuff went down significantly because who's going to pay tickets to see Brittany when Brittany's not performing? She said, I ain't doing that no more. I'm not working for you people. I'm done. But TriStar wanted to continue to profit. So upon learning that TriStar's commission, apparently of 5%, would only amount to $179,000 that year, which is more than most of us make in a year, Lou prevailed upon her personal friend, Jamie Spears, to retroactively extend to TriStar a minimum payment of $500,000. And here's the excerpt from that email, the quote. Jamie, we just ran time and billing for Brittany and all of the entities. We have a $400K loss on time and billing this year. We've been paid $179K. I want to stay at least 5%. I want to stay at least 5% commission. Well, I guess you do. But set a floor. She wanted to set a minimum amount of $500,000, meaning they would not get paid less than 5. This is extortion, in my opinion, innocent until proven guilty. She wanted a retainer payment each month and each quarter to settle it against the commission. Then next year, they would look at time and billing again. Is that approved? Weeks or months go by, but Jamie does approve it. Among many other issues, the propriety or the appropriateness of this overpayment to TriStar is currently pending before the court on the petition for the approval of the 12th account current. So that's another issue. Remember I showed y'all that picture? It's another issue. Number 2. Jamie also used Brittany's money to pay legal fees of Lou Taylor, even though his own counsel, his own lawyer, Vivian Lee Thoreen, told him that that expenditure was inappropriate use of Brittany's money. Specifically, on July 1st, 2019, Lou filed a lawsuit in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia against an alleged fan named Brian Kuchar for utilizing 2 domains, loumtaylor.com and loumtaylor.net, to, quote, tarnish Taylor's name and mark. Neither the complaint nor the response to the complaint that Lou filed even mentions Brittany. Rather, it is clear that the lawsuit was filed by Lou primarily to benefit Lou. Nevertheless, in March 2020, Brittany's estate was invoiced in the amount of $153,000 for legal services performed by Miss Taylor's lawyers in that lawsuit. After a slight little tiny reduction, the fees were actually paid by one of Brittany's business entities on March 10th, 2020, at the request of Jamie. TriStar, as business manager and bill payer, effectively paid itself in connection with this transaction. This is a textbook. They need to put it in the textbook. definition of a conflict of interest, which is what I did tell my law firm. They don't want to listen to me, but I bet you they're listening now. I bet you if we had that conversation today, it would go a little different. Jamie's improper use of his daughter's money to pay Lou Taylor's personal legal fees was noted by Jamie's attorney. So Jamie's attorney even said, I don't think we need to pay this lawsuit out of Brittany's money. He wrote to Jamie, this Vivian Lee Thoreen, wrote to Jamie on February 9th, 2021, the following. The Kuchar pleadings I just forwarded to you further support my conclusion. This is Vivian Lee Thoreen saying this in 2021. Lou should pay the fees of the Atlanta lawyers, and more specifically, she should reimburse the conservatorship. Neither the complaint nor the answer makes any reference to Brittany. No connection is made between Brittany and the lawsuit. Lou doesn't even try to weave it into the complaint. It makes the sell that the conservatorship should pay her fees even more tenuous. My nose is itching. Okay, next letter, D. According to the New York Times and Black Box Security whistleblower Alex Vlasov, TriStar's Robin Greenhill was actively involved in improper electronic surveillance of Britney Spears, which was paid for from Britney's money. On September 24, 2021, the New York Times published a front-page bombshell expose that disclosed for the first time Jamie's unconscionable invasions of his adult daughter's privacy. The Times reported that Jamie and others ran an intense surveillance apparatus that monitored Britney's communication and also captured attorney-client communications with her prior lawyer, Sam Ingham, which communications are sacrosanct part of the legal system. Documents produced by a third party confirm that Robin Greenhill was sent private content from Britney's devices. Although Black Box has only produced a handful of documents to date, among these documents are a Word document containing a narrative summary of Britney's text communications with several individuals, including with her children, which Idan Yemeni circulated by email to Jamie and Robin. So look, Black Box hasn't provided us a lot, but we do have one. Produce only a handful of documents to date. Among those are a Word document containing a narrative summary of Britney's text communications to many people, including her kids. Then Idan Yemeni sent the email communication, the text message communication, like he went and wrote a little transcript. He circulated it by email to Jamie and Robin on January 23rd, 2020. And they also, Black Box Security also provided documents with screenshots of Britney's text messages. Screenshots of Britney's text messages with third parties, including her then boyfriend, now husband, Sam Asghari. According to the New York Times extensive reporting, Mr. Vlasov's statements and documentary evidence, communications between Britney and her former attorney, Sam Ingham, were also monitored. This is criminal. Again, innocent until proven guilty. I'm not saying they are for sure criminals. I'm saying if these allegations are true, it seems criminal to me. E. Okay. TriStar discovery, concealment of its actions as Ms. Spears' business manager. Okay. Okay. E. TriStar's discovery concealment. What is discovery? Discovery in this case is important information that you are required to turn over to the other party, like emails, like documents, like written agreements, et cetera, et cetera. There's certain documents required to be turned over. It's called discovery. So Matt is about to argue that they concealed important documents relating to its actions as Britney's business manager. Remember, Lou Taylor served many roles. She wore many hats in this conservatorship. So what we're about to talk about right now is the hat that she put on as Britney's business manager. Even with just this brief synopsis, it becomes clear why TriStar has stonewalled, including by failing to provide depositions and relevant documents since late 2021, beginning on September 15, 2021, and then multiple times over the course of the following months. Brittany's counsel requested, that's Brittany's lawyer requested that TriStar produce certain basic records and information needed to understand the administration of her estate, including a copy, this is what they asked for, of any business manager agreement between TriStar and Brittany and or the estate, and a tally. What else they asked for? A tally of how much TriStar had been paid. It was only when TriStar repeatedly refused these simple requests that Brittany's lawyers served the October 2021 subpoenas at issue while still continuing to request the most basic information. So he's just laying it out for the court. Look, I've been asking for this stuff since October, and they're not giving me even the most basic crap. TriStar argues that it need not produce any information that was not, in its own self-serving view, facially related to the 12th account, the one account that has not been approved by this court. But this is contrary to the rules of court and the discovery rules. TriStar's stonewalling continues with the separate and equally appalling contentions that, one, it had no fiduciary relationship with Britney Spears. Okay, yeah, that is obviously not true, right? Like, TriStar's going, oh no, we're not a fiduciary. Lou Taylor's going, I had no fiduciary relationship to Britney Spears. I mean, that's just a lie. That's just not true. If you're the business manager, the account reporter, the investment advisor, you have layers and layers and layers of fiduciary relationships with Britney Spears and layers of conflicts. They also said, Lou Taylor also said, she couldn't possibly separate out the mounds of protected medical information in its possession from the financial information it maintains, which Matt Rosengart's going to come through and say that's not true, and he's going to tell you why. And three, because Brittany has access to the accountings filed in this case, which are disjointed, incomplete, and contain numerous limitations and caveats, they're still trying to say TriStar is somehow absolved of any responsibility because basically what Lou is saying is, well, listen, we've provided all the accountings to the court. Sam Ingham never objected. Brittany never objected, and the court never objected. The court approved those filings, and so for that reason, I don't have to tell y'all anything else about anything else other than this one that's still pending that hasn't been approved. Matt's going to come through and call BS on that. In its motion, this motion, if y'all want to read that motion, it is in the court documents file linked below in the November 2021 date. So you'll have to go to the 2021 court documents in the Google Drive to be able to see this motion. We're not going to read it here because we've already discussed it. But in its motion, TriStar tries to claim that it provided a full set of TriStar's books and records relating to the work that TriStar performed during its 11-year tenure. Thereby, they're trying to say that they don't have to turn anything else over. This is simply incorrect, Matt says. Although TriStar provided Brittany's current business manager with temporary access to QuickBooks, it withdrew that access without prior warning. So then we had to put, then it was like that new temporary conservator, which was like John Zabel, withdrew the access from John Zabel, which made it necessary for him to insist on being provided with the QuickBook files himself. TriStar did ultimately produce this, but it failed to provide supporting documentation or communications and has continued to refuse to produce anything. So now we're going to get into the legal discussion. We're not going to necessarily discuss this part word for word. We're just going to kind of breeze through this because I do want to get to the other document with the emails in it. So TriStar and Greenhill do have fiduciary duties. Okay. I do see the text message. I will read it after the live. Thank you. TriStar and Greenhill have fiduciary duties to provide the requested documents and information to Brittany with or without a subpoena. TriStar should provide Ms. Spears with the requested records about its management of her affairs without needing a subpoena to do so. Plus, we already did a subpoena, so they really need to provide us with these records. These are Brittany's records, is the argument here. TriStar has a legal and moral obligation to produce these documents and information. Even in the absence of being compelled to do so, she should be doing this. There can be no doubt that TriStar occupied the kind of position of trust and confidence that gives rise to fiduciary duties. So basically, Matt is arguing the legal arguments and the legal grounds to say why TriStar and Lou and Robin actually are fiduciaries. Because up here, Lou's trying to argue she did not have a fiduciary duty. Right? Lou Taylor's arguing in her motion she has no fiduciary duty. So Matt is arguing in part A, yes, she does. And so does Robin, and so does TriStar. So we're not going to get into the specifics there, but that's what the argument is. B, we went ahead and subpoenaed them, even though we shouldn't have had to. They should have just turned it over. We shouldn't be having to ask the court. We shouldn't be wasting Brittany's money on trying to file these petitions. But fine, we did do a subpoena. You want out? Okay. Let me let my cat out. Hold on one second. You're not coming back in if you go out. Bye. Get out. Okay. Okay. Where am I? Right. Okay. So the second argument they're making is the subpoenas. Okay, fine. We had to do these subpoenas. And the subpoenas are reasonably calculated to lead to the discovery of admissible evidence, which is a standard for evidence. We'll read the first couple sentences. Even putting aside TriStar's status as a fiduciary, the TriStar's motion is still contrary to law. As the Court of Appeal has explained, discovery is broad and construed liberally in favor of the requesting party. A civil litigant's right to discovery is broad. Any party may obtain discovery regarding any matter not privileged that is relevant to the subject matter at issue. So they're just saying our stuff's not overly broad. The subpoenas seek records and information directly relevant to several pending petitions, including Jamie's petition for fees on account. TriStar appears to concede that Brittany is entitled to discovery of records and info relevant to all these petitions, but they object only to the extent that discovery requests do not pertain to the pending petitions. But what Matt Rosengart is saying is that's too narrow. Brittany's rights are far, far broader than that. This concession is fatal to TriStar's motion. Brittany's requests are plainly relevant to several pending matters, including not only the 12th account current and prior accountings, but also for Jamie's pending petition for payment on account, which directly puts his character and his conduct at issue. So this is just a little bit of a technicality. I don't think we need to get into it too specifically. But he does point out here, I want to read this part. Even putting aside TriStar for the moment, the records and information that Brittany seeks about the alleged surveillance operation, the conflicted relationship between TriStar and Jamie, the mismanagement of funds, and the domestic violence restraining order bear directly on Jamie's misconduct. Both alleged and proven. Some alleged, some proven. And thus on his non-entitlement to fees on account under Shine. So basically they're saying Jamie did all this stuff, so he's not entitled to fees. And we've already read this argument ad nauseum over and over, so I'm not getting back into it. Y'all can go rewatch the playlist. Okay. So now he argues based on the Hudson versus Foster case, which is new. I think it's like a 2021 or 2022 case. It's brand new, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Under basic principles of conservatorship law and fiduciary law, TriStar, like Jamie, had an obligation to elevate the interests of Brittany above their own interests. The evidence indicates that just like Jamie, TriStar did not put Brittany's interests above their own, reportedly invading the privacy of Brittany's most intimate and privileged communications, pressing for compensation to which it was not entitled, and seeking to have Lou Taylor's personal expenses paid from Brittany's estate. Not only seeking, but actually having them paid from her estate. In submitting his periodic accountings to the court for review and approval, Jamie failed to disclose and, in fact, apparently concealed, aka hid, the illegal surveillance he and his team had reportedly engaged in, including that a portion of black box fees apparently went to pay for it. So Matt is saying, look, Your Honor, Jamie and Lou have been lying to you by keeping things from you. They didn't tell you that they were surveilling Brittany and her communications, did they? No, that wasn't in the accounting reports. Well, guess what? They did that on purpose because they were trying to mislead you, is basically what Matt is saying. Jamie also evidently concealed that he used money from the estate to pay for his personal legal fees that should have been absorbed by Lou Taylor. Oh, sorry. I said that wrong. Let me correct. Jamie also evidently hid that he used money from Brittany's estate to pay for Lou's personal legal fees that should have been absorbed by Lou herself, while also concealing the true nature and purpose of several additional expenditures that were actually for his benefit. Under these circumstances, the recently decided court appeal in Hudson versus Foster mandates a thorough review and likely the setting aside of prior accountings, whether or not they were previously approved. So just to give y'all the quick explanation on Hudson, Lou Taylor's team is saying, hold on one second here. Wait. The court already approved it. Remember how she kind of used it like against Matt and Brittany? She was like, well, Your Honor, you already approved all those accountings. So Matt Rosengart is basically calling you an idiot. Matt Rosengart is telling you, the court, that, you were involved in this, you approved it. So Matt Rosengart's saying that we should open up something that you already approved. Well, Matt Rosengart's saying, hold up, swole up. A new case recently decided that if this stuff is at issue of misconduct, it actually doesn't matter if the court approved it or not. It doesn't matter if the court used diligence or not. What matters is we need to get to the bottom of the financial mismanagement. There are conflicts of interest. There is obvious alleged mismanagement. There are obvious conflicts of interest that can be seen in the record based on receipts. And so for that reason, it doesn't matter what the court has approved previously. It's entitled to get opened back up. And here's the central holding of the case. Where there exists a relationship of trust and confidence, it is the duty of one in whom the confidence is placed to make a full disclosure of all material facts within his knowledge relating to the transaction in question, and any concealment of material facts is a fraud. So Matt is implying that Jamie and Lou have committed fraud by lying to the court and not telling them really what they were spending Brittany's money on. Where there is such a duty to disclose, the disclosure must be full and complete, and any material concealment or misrepresentation will amount to fraud. And not only is it fraud, but it has another consequence. And the extra consequence is it entitles Brittany sufficient to entitle the party injured thereby to sue Lou Taylor, to sue her. It creates a cause of action under the law, which means it's a reason to sue someone. Now that Brittany has been alerted to information suggesting the existence of multiple instances of fraudulent concealment, she must have an opportunity to fully investigate the facts through discovery. Should Brittany determine that an equitable request to this court set aside prior orders, Should Brittany determine that an equitable request to this court to set aside those prior approvals of the accounting, Brittany will likely have ample basis for seeking that relief. She'll have basis for it based on the Hudson case that was recently decided. But that is a question for another day. The question for today is far simpler: whether the requested information is relevant to these proceedings. As a matter of law and equity, the only reasonable and just answer is yes. The conclusion is TriStar's hiding, obfuscation concerning its role in management of Brittany's affairs is not what one would expect to see from a fiduciary, much less from a firm that promotes itself as TriStar does, as a, quote, trusted advisor exemplifying honesty and integrity, my ass, exemplifying lying through their damn teeth that Brittany probably paid for. Regardless, for the reasons discussed herein and in the record, TriStar's motion to quash should be denied, subject to the restrictions in the record to protect the confidentiality and privacy interests. TriStar and Robin should be ordered to produce all responsive documents within 7 days, and Lou and Robin should be ordered to sit for their depositions promptly thereafter. So then Matt includes the New York Times article that talks about Lou and the $40,000 loan. He also includes two New York Times articles about the whistleblower and stuff like that. We've read these articles, I believe, together, but I'm not going to get into them today. Let's go to the concurrently filed document. Okay. Now, this is the document that was filed by Kyle Freeny. I believe Kyle Freeny is an associate at Kroll. We'll discuss and get through it together, but this is the one where all of the email exhibits are. So we're going to look at that. So this is filed the same day, filed concurrently with the opposition, which we just read. Declaration of Kyle R. Freeny in support of Britney Spears' memo in opposition to TriStar and Robin Greenhill's motion to quash. Oh, shoot. Get this situated. Oh, okay. No, I was mistaken about Kyle Freeny's identity. Kyle Freeny is another one of Britney Spears' attorneys. So this is a document that was filed concurrently, basically the same time as the opposition we just read. And these are going to include the exhibits with the emails. So y'all know we're going to read those. Kyle Freeny says, I am a shareholder with the law firm Greenberg Traurig, that's Matt Rosengart's law firm, counsel on this matter for Britney and admitted to practice before this court. I have personal knowledge of the facts stated herein, and if called and sworn as a witness, I could testify about the facts relating to it. Attached as Exhibit 1 are true and correct copies of select emails from January and February 2008, right? That was the month Britney was put into an involuntary psychiatric hold at UCLA Medical Center on January 31st, 2008. The conservatorship papers were filed February 1st, the next day, 2008. So we're about to look at emails that happened during that time, okay, from January and February, between and among Lou Taylor, Jamie Spears, Geraldine Weil, and others, which were among the mass of unindexed and disorganized records that former conservator counsel, that's Geraldine, provided to the former temporary conservator, that's Zabel, after the court suspended Jamie. Okay, so we're going to show y'all some emails as Exhibit 1. Exhibit 2 and 3 are true and correct copies of the October 2021 subpoenas for depositions and documents issued to TriStar. We have read those on this channel. I've reviewed documents provided by Black Box Security to Ms. Spears in this matter, and among the handful of documents produced are the following. A Word document containing a narrative summary of Britney's texts with several individuals, including her kids, which Black Box CEO Edan Yemeni circulated by email to Jamie and Robin on January 23rd, 2020, without comment. And 2, several Word documents with screenshots of Britney's text messages with third parties, including Sam Asghari, which Edan Yemeni circulated by email. Really, let's just stop and process that real quick. Britney Spears' text communications between and among with her children and with her, at the time, fiance or boyfriend were being intercepted by her traffickers and then shared with each other. Imagine you're texting your husband, your boyfriend, your wife, your spouse, your children, and you don't even know, and someone has your stuff bugged and tapped. Imagine it. Attached as Exhibit 4, true and correct copies of the September 15, 2021 email and November 2nd, 2021 letter that Matt Rosengart's office sent to Scott Edelman, which is Lou Taylor's lawyer and Robin Greenhill's lawyer. I've been advised by Miss Spears' current business manager, that's, what's his name? Michael Kane. So Matt said, this is written by Kyle Freeny. Kyle says he has been advised by Michael Kane that although TriStar provided them with temporary access to the QuickBooks files for Brittany's estate, TriStar withdrew that access or let it lapse with no prior warning, which necessitated the temporary conservator at the time, John Zabel, to insist on being provided the QuickBook files. TriStar did provide this raw data to Zabel, but did not provide supporting documentation or communications, meaning emails. It has continued to refuse to produce anything whatsoever to Ms. Spears or her counsel. I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of California that the foregoing is true and correct. Executed July 1st, 2022. Okay. Exhibit 1, we have an email between from Lou to Geraldine Weil, Jamie Spears, and others. Ladies, now this is Lou Taylor. You have my contact information. Thanks. And I look forward to working with you. So this is about 2 or 3 weeks before Brittany was put in the involuntary hold and in the conservatorship. Lou Taylor again. This is January 17th, same day, right? Yeah, same day. I talked to the girls about Andrew Wallet on who the girls are. He and TriStar, Andrew Wallet and TriStar, will serve as co-conservators with you. I think the girls are the lawyers. So Lou is sending an email to Jamie 2 or 3 weeks before the conservatorship saying, I talked to other lawyers about Andrew Wallet. He and TriStar, Lou's company, will serve as co-conservators with you. They cannot use Howard. He is an interested party. Who is Howard? Who is Howard? Then January 30th, 2008, one day before the big spectacle and fiasco of putting Brittany in against her will in the 5150 involuntary psychiatric hold for 3 days at UCLA Medical Center, only 2 days before the conservatorship was officially filed and petitioned for in the court, Geraldine sends an email to Lou Taylor, also copying Gerald, Jamie, probably Andrew, I don't know. Lou, we have run into the problem. This is Geraldine talking to Lou 2 days before Brittany's put in an involuntary psychiatric hold. We have run into a problem with our judge selection. The only judge who will be able to hear our case on Friday is the one drug who will not give Jamie the power to administer psychotropic drugs to Brittany. The first time she is off the bench is Wednesday. That is the first safe day to be in court on this matter. If we go earlier, all of this work could well be for virtually nothing, as Jamie will be able to get her diagnosed, but will not be able to forcibly drug her against her will. We have discussed with Jamie, and we are in agreement that we would rather be safe than sorry. Please pray for Brittany that we will get more info and she will suffer no further harm at the hands of Sam. Instead, she's going to be suffering harm at the hands of you traffickers. You can call my cell in about half an hour. I want to see what day they actually did go into court. Hold on a second. What day of the week was February 1st, 2008? Wow, this is insane. Okay, and then what day of the week was February 4th? I'll have to do a little bit more timeline nitpicking to see what really happened here, but this is big information here that we're learning. So look, you have Geraldine Weil helping Lou Taylor and Jamie Spears select, her words, not mine, a judge that would be amenable to forcibly drugging Brittany Spears. Okay. I do have the original conservatorship documents from 2008. We'll look at those after this. We have discussed with Jamie, and we are in agreement that we'd rather be safe to drug her against her will than sorry. Please pray for Brittany that we will get more info. Okay, here's Lou Taylor, which was, this was actually sent before. So this was sent January 30th, 8:17 p.m. Look, they're working into all hours of the night. That was Lou sent this email. Then the one we just read was sent 5 minutes later by Geraldine. So what did Lou say? Ladies, tomorrow we will need to craft a paragraph statement that I can service after you file. That way there is an official statement out on behalf of Jamie. You will be bombarded, as will my office, and that statement will have to serve as the official statement from Jamie. Shouldn't take more than 15 minutes, but we need to have it ready. So Lou Taylor is inserting herself here. This is proof that the day before, this is the night before Brittany was railroaded into a conservatorship on January 31st. Sorry, this is the night before Brittany was railroaded into a 5150 hold on January 31st. So the night before, they're working all hours of the night. Lou says, tomorrow we need to craft a official statement. A month, 2 days later, this is the day, February 1st, 2008, is the day that all of the conservatorship documents were filed for the first time. The next day after Brittany was put into the involuntary hold, the very next day, conservatorship or jail, you got to have your conservatee in holding, either jail or a involuntary psychiatric hold in order to do these conservatorship papers. That's what Lima Yevrimovich told me, and she's touting herself as an expert. So we're just weaving all the conservatorship frauds into this. But look, the same exact day, the morning of court, that they're going in and telling the judge Brittany needs a conservatorship. Brittany's not there. No, she's in the hospital held against her will. Lou Taylor sends this email to Geraldine, Gerald, and Jamie. I want to make sure, hold on, let me just get this right. Okay. So first email sent is Geraldine sending it to Lou. Geraldine sends to Lou and the rest of them. Lou, until the permanent order is granted, which will be no sooner than at least 4 to 6 weeks, there must be no statements from the family. Okay, this is the day. This is the day Brittany is put in a conservatorship. All statements should come from attorneys. Well, who's that? Geraldine. Geraldine wants to be the one to make the statement. The reason why is that we need to preserve the credibility of all of our witnesses, especially the family, and most of all, Lynn. As much of this case rests on Lynn's credibility. I am so glad you got them up to the house Monday night. It is the key, a setup. So look, Geraldine is telling Lou, until we make this conservatorship permanent, which was already in the works. See, Brittany's conservatorship didn't get made permanent until like the next year, till 2009 or maybe 2 years. They always planned to make it permanent, just like Lima Yevrimovich filed for a permanent conservatorship at the exact same time that she filed to put Bam Margera into a conservatorship in Mesa, Arizona in June of last year. They always planned until, look, Geraldine talking to Lou, until the permanent order is granted, which will be no sooner than 4 to 6 weeks. There must be no statements from the family. All statements should come from the attorneys. The reason why is we need to preserve the credibility of all of our witnesses, especially the family, most of all Lynn. Much of this case rests on her credibility. I'm so glad you got them up to the house Monday night. That's why they were there. That's why them was there. I don't know if it was Lynn and Jamie, Lynn and someone else. But what does Geraldine Weil say? Geraldine Weil is one of Jamie's attorneys who's been on the conservatorship case the whole time since 2008. I'm so glad you got them up to the house Monday night. It is the key. February 1st, 2008, I believe was a Friday. So this was all a big setup. So what does Lou say? Okay, I'm absolutely fine with that. I just want to make sure that I'm included. This is the morning of the conservatorship hearing or the conservatorship filings. Make sure I am included in those conversations So I know what's going on. Remember, the engagement letter requires copies to come to our facility, all documents to be preserved for the benefit of Jamie. Yes, I am really excited that the opportunity on Monday opened just as Jamie and I thought something would. It was perfect. So again, Lynn Spears told us in Through the Storm, Jamie and Lou had been trying to set this conservatorship up for 6 weeks. I have all the confidence in you and we'll see you soon. Lou Taylor, Friday, 9:45 a.m. Oh, this was before all that. Girls and gentlemen, after court, we need to caucus. I need to service the AP today with a statement from the family. Oh, again, that was Geraldine saying, look, girl, until it's permanent, we're not doing no family statement because we need to rely on Lynn's credibility. And if Lynn comes out making statements, it could affect her credibility. So Lou's like, okay, I'm fine with that. I just want to make sure that I'm included. Okay, does this look like somebody that had nothing to do with the setting up of the conservatorship to y'all? Yes or no? Does this look like somebody that had nothing to do with setting up a conservatorship to y'all? Because it looks like she had everything to do with it. 9:38 p.m., February 24th. So this is after the conservatorship has been established, the end of the month. To Lou today. I spoke to Lou today. We do need to talk with her to obtain the info she has, which is concerning her. Although she expressed a desire to come in if when Brian is no longer trustee. I figured I will deal with that issue this week as our plans get more firm. I am reminded Rome was not built in a day. What did I tell y'all earlier? This plan took them 13 years. They still weren't done with it when Free Britney popped off. They hadn't fully finished their plan. Rome wasn't built in a day, especially when you're trying to break laws and go around laws. Let me see, 25th, 8:37. Hold on a second. I just want to, okay. So not January. This was February 25th, the next day. Jamie, please see below. I'll see if I can get a call together now. What number should I try? Okay. So this is from Lou Taylor to Geraldine Weil. And the subject line is topic of concern, Brian Spears. Do you want me to send this to Andrew? This is about a month after the conservatorship was put into place, about 3 weeks. Here are some discussion points for you from Lou, who claims she had nothing to do with setting up this conservatorship. Here she goes to Geraldine. The trust has assets, but the general business matters and the other entities are where the majority of the decision-making processes need to happen. Remember I explained this cup? Lou wasn't in charge of this cup. She needed to stay in charge of her lane for the time being. One of the suggestions that Andrew had was the trust could pay the bills. And that would get us around a great deal of the court submission issues. That would let us hide from the court. However, all caps, when it is a business-related deductible expense, those need to be paid out of Brittany Brands or Brittany Touring. You will expose the trust if you pay business expenses from the trust. Any bills that need to be paid from the trust, we could prepare and submit on behalf of the conservators to Ivan, right? That was the trustee. So they were going to have to ask Ivan permission. Jamie nor I want Ivan or Brian in any matter that they are not entitled to by law. That includes records. So looks like Lou and Jamie are trying to hide from Ivan and Brian, who were the chosen trustees. They were the people who Brittany chose to be her trustees, Ivan and Brian. But Lou is saying, I want to circumvent around them because once we get the trust involved, we're about to have to get Ivan and Brian involved. And as you do know, who was made trustee? Who was eventually made trustee of the trust 10 years later? Lou Taylor Minion, Jamie Lynn Spears. What did Jamie Lynn Spears try to do with the funds of that trust based on court documents? Give them to a firm called Stonebridge Investment Counsel. Who is Stonebridge Investment Counsel, you might ask? Good question. It's Lou Taylor's investment firm. So Jamie Lynn Spears was installed as trustee of Brittany's trust, but all the way back in 2008, Lou Taylor said, Jamie nor I want Ivan or Brian, Brittany's chosen trustees, in any matter that they are not entitled to by law. And that includes records. Geraldine comes back, sends it to Jamie. Jamie, please see below. I'll see if I can get a call together now. What number should I reach you at? To Lou today. We do see. Okay. So we already read this. Okay. So let's move to the next exhibit. I think it's just the subpoena. Okay, so that exhibit 2 and 3 we've already read on this channel. It's just them putting the questions for the deposition, the productions of documents. This is the paperwork that Matt Rosengart filed to try and subpoena discovery from Lou Taylor. We've already read this. Y'all can read it in the documents listed below. This is the second deposition. I think one's for Lou, one's for Robin, one is for TriStar. Yeah, a deposition subpoena. This is the document where he alleged that Lou Taylor had a intimate relationship with Jamie, like a more than friends relationship. Okay, more emails. September 15th, 2021. So now this is after Matt Rosengart has stepped in. Hold on. I don't know what this is. That is fine. Thanks. Something about setting up a call. Scott Edelman is Lou Taylor's lawyer. So we have an email from Matt to Lou Taylor's lawyer and Robin Greenhill's lawyer. That is fine. Thanks. In the meantime, I'm informed there is no written agreement or contract with TriStar as business manager, although there is apparently one from early on as tour manager. Is this correct? And if not, can you please send me the business management contract as well as total revenues? So this is Matt saying, look, Your Honor, I have asked as early as September, which is now almost a year ago, 10 months ago, a copy of the management contract and what are the total revenues that TriStar received from its beginning as business manager. Then we have this email to Scott Edelman from Matt Rosengart, November 2nd, 2 months later. That has to do with this stuff. I'm not reading all of it. Y'all can read it if you want to. TriStar and Robin Greenhill's failure to comply with subpoenas, failure to produce financial information to Brittany, failure to produce emails and text messages regarding the listening device, the iCloud mirroring, and failure to provide evidence relating to the revenues received or taken from Brittany and the estate. So he lays out what we already know, right? First, he requested a copy of business management agreement. Second, he requested the total revenues. He's never got them. Please provide that information. Now, this is 10 months ago. He still hasn't gotten them. I don't want to read this whole letter. I want to get into the emails, though. This was attached to an email, too, to Lou's lawyer from Matt. Okay, so that's it. Okay. So that is basically what I have for today. Essentially, the big takeaways that I see from these filings is receipts and evidence. No, I should rephrase. More receipts and evidence that Lou Taylor, TriStar, and Robin Greenhill and their lawyers have lied, and have now been caught in many lies. Lies about not being involved in the conservatorship when it started. Lies about not being involved in Brittany's affairs when the conservatorship started. Lies about how much listening devices, which can be refuted by evidence. Now, I want to show y'all one more thing because I want to help y'all understand what exactly is going on in the case and all the different goings on. So if it'll let me share, I'll share it. If not, it'll be the sign from the Lord. Okay. So this is Brittany's case, right? And I went on vacation on June 27th. So everything starting here and up was things that have happened since I've been gone. Okay. So just want to real quick run through these issues with y'all. June 28th, someone filed an opposition of a motion to compel. I don't exactly know which person filed that, but right now there's a few motions to compel. There's a motion to compel Britney Spears to sit for a deposition. There's a motion to compel Jamie to sit for a deposition, and he has his own lawyer, Big Sloppy. There's a motion to compel Robin. There's a motion to compel Lou, and there's a motion to compel TriStar, all of them, to sit for a deposition. There's 5 different actually 3 different documents. I called it from the get-go, sure did. And it's just like, I just keep being more and more right. So what we're going to talk about here. So those motions to compel are for them to sit for depositions, right? All 5, Brittany, Lou, Robin, TriStar, and Jamie, right? So all 5 of those are being compelled to sit for a deposition or being motioned to compel. So all 5 of those have their own little universe of documents going on, right? Not only is that stuff all going on in this case, we have a plethora of other issues, including Lou's fees, Jamie's lawyer's fees, Jamie's fees, Vivian's fees, Geraldine Wiles' fees, Jody Montgomery's fees, all of that stuff, right? There's like 15 different things going on in this case. So let's look at what's been filed since I've been gone. And I'm just going to tell y'all what it is. Declaration of Matt Rosengart, declaration of Big Sloppy in support of Jamie's opposition to being deposed. So we have Big Sloppy coming in and saying, no, Jamie shouldn't get deposed. Here's the reasons why. Right here. We have declaration of Geraldine Weil in support of Jamie opposing being deposed, right? So we have Geraldine writing a letter saying, court, you shouldn't make Jamie get deposed. All this is also just in my opinion. In my opinion, I have been wrong before. Your guess is as good as mine. But if I had to speculate, there is absolutely no conceivable way that Jamie will get out of being deposed. There's no conceivable way that he's going to be able to not be deposed, as well as Lou and Robin. There's no conceivable way. And so all this stuff is literally just a huge waste of time, money, judicial resources, and is further harassing Britney Spears. What other document? So on the 29th, a declaration filed by one of Britney's lawyers in support of making Jamie sit for a deposition. Now, look, we're only talking about Jamie's deposition, right? And Jamie's documents in this particular document. Then again, another opposition was filed, Jamie's opposition to Britney's motion to compel him to produce documents. Okay, so that's not the deposition. This is the document production question. But it's all related because it's all those 5 people and it's all discovery requests. It's just one's for documents, one's for deposition. Then we have Vivian Lee Thoreen making an appearance back from beyond the grave. She's not really dead, but she's dead as far as this lawsuit is concerned because she withdrew. Vivian comes in and basically says, I don't have any information having to do with bugging Britney's room and Jamie shouldn't have to be deposed on that issue. Another proof of service. Now on the 29th, Britney puts forth another opposition to Jamie's motion to compel her. Okay, so this one has to do with Jamie. Basically, Jamie's trying to do a bargaining. That's cool. Aphrodite saw an inappropriate connection regarding Lou in tarot readings. It was that long ago. He started reading it, and long ago as the cancellation on domination. Wow, that's awesome that he was able to predict that. So what happened was Britney basically said, Dad, you have to sit for a deposition. And immediately Jamie's like, okay, well, I'm not sitting for nothing if you don't sit. So he motions to compel her to sit for a deposition. Now, do I personally believe Britney, in my moral opinion, should have to sit for a deposition? No. But in my educated opinion, like in what I've learned about law and depositions through going to law school and passing the bar and all of that, I also don't think that there's really any conceivable way that Britney's going to be able to avoid sitting for a deposition. Usually when you sue somebody, you have to subject yourself to a deposition. This is not me wanting to get y'all mad or whatever. I know y'all don't like to hear the truth sometimes, but that is the truth. So I just want to prepare y'all that it is possible based on my, legal opinion. This isn't legal advice. I hope I'm wrong. I will celebrate and rejoice if I'm wrong. But I want to get y'all adequately prepared for the fact that Britney will likely have to sit for a deposition. I think Matt is playing the game that Jamie is playing, like making it harder for them. But okay. This is this right here. Britney's opposition to Jamie motioning to compel her to give further responses and requests. And this has to do not with deposition. This has to do with documents. What are these documents? Admission, interrogatories, and requests for production of documents. The same day, Britney files opposition, basically rejecting, not wanting to sit for a deposition as well. This also has to do with Kroll's third-party requests. Same day, Jamie sends a response, separate statement in support of his opposition to compel production of documents. So this has to do with the documents. again, it's all these 5 people. Let me just one more time to make it, because I know this is very confusing. There's 5 parties at issue here. Jamie, Lou, Robin, TriStar itself as a business, and Brittany, right? These people are all basically in cahoots, but really these ones are really in cahoots. So Jamie has his own lawyer over here, Big Sloppy. Then you have TriStar, Lou Taylor, and Robin, who are represented by Edelman at Gibson and Dunn, right? So here's Jamie, and they're all kind of like together. And then you have Brittany over here sitting off, and they're basically making all the same requests that Brittany is making to them. They're making back to her, right? So that's why it looks like, why are we talking so much about, thank you, Hazel. Why are we talking so much about documents, depositions? That's why. Each one, Jamie, Jamie, Lou, TriStar, Robin, Brittany, each one is being requested by someone for 2 things: depositions and documents. Okay. Does that make sense? This is very, very complex to try to explain in real time, but like I'm doing my best. So I want it to make sense. Okay. So then after that same day, declaration of Matt Rosengart was filed, supporting Brittany's opposition to Jamie trying to make her sit for a deposition. Again, I think Brittany and Lou and Jamie and Robin are all going to have to sit for depositions. I really think that. Declaration of Jamie was also filed that same day, opposing Brittany's declaration of James in support of Jamie's opposition to sitting for a deposition. So they're just filing paper after paper after paper about these depositions and documents. They're all saying they shouldn't have to turn over anything else. And they all are probably going to have to, besides Brittany, turn over more stuff. They're all saying they shouldn't have to sit for a deposition. And they're all probably going to have to sit for a deposition. Then we have the final 3 documents. Those are the ones we just read. Declaration of Kyle Freeny. That's the one with those email exhibits. There was a proof of service, which I did buy. I can pull that up for y'all. And then the opposition that we read, which was the first document that we read. Okay. Let me pull up that proof of service if I can. So y'all can just see what else was filed on that day. Of the opposition. So the ones we really focused on today were, let me show y'all again. Hold on. The ones we really focused on today were numbers 1, 2, and 3. This was the first one we read. This one was the second one we read, right? 37 and 47 pages respectively. And I also did download the proof of service. So let me, pull that up, because there was like some notes on there if I'm recalling correctly. It says proof of service with comment. Okay. So this one's only 4 pages. We're just going to breeze through. Proof of service. I'm employed with this firm. Who's Joy Chun? Proof of service. Oh, no. Oh, right. Okay. On July 1st, 2022, I transmitted the following documents on the attached service list: Brittany's memo in opposition to TriStar's motion to quash, which is the first document we read today, and the declaration of Kyle Freeny in support of Brittany's memo in opposition to TriStar and Greenhill's motion to quash. Okay. So that's all we have for the day. I will certainly be going over more stuff. I'm definitely going to be at the hearing. I'm definitely going to be over there. I will keep y'all updated as time permits. I have a few other issues to address. Like I told y'all, my phone got stolen, so I have to go get a phone. And I also know that a lot happened while I was on vacation concerning the Bam Margera case. So I'm planning on catching up on that stuff, getting y'all updated. I still need to, get my other law school channel started, which is really was my first priority when I got back, but so much other stuff had happened. So just stick around. We will be going over this stuff. The documents are all listed in the comment section below. Thank y'all Max. Thank y'all so much for being here. There's 785 people in the chat. Clearly, the Free Britney movement isn't going anywhere. And I will be around to continue doing this. I do have a lot of stuff going on. So y'all be patient. I may be a day or two behind on this stuff as I get through it, but y'all make sure you're signed up for notifications, specifically on YouTube, because any moment I can get locked out of those social media accounts. Y'all know what I mean? So yeah, big things in the works. I also, for my followers that are here for like also me, I really want to tell y'all about my experience at the Wim Hof retreat. I met Wim Hof. We like sang. I sat in ice bath, a pool full of water with ice in it for 15 minutes, something I never thought I would do. I climbed a mountain for the first time, something I didn't think I could do. So it was really amazing. I really want to share some of the stuff I learned with y'all there. But first things first, I want to catch up with what I'm behind on. So that's what I'll be doing. Just keep track, keep up. And who knows, maybe I'll be going live several times a day. I don't know. Facts ain't defamation. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.